Start. There's no going back. Anything can happen.
The return of the Conjuring franchise with The Conjuring Last Rites signals the arrival of what may be the most intense and emotionally charged chapter yet in the cinematic saga of Ed and Lorraine Warren. This film is not just another ghost story. It's being crafted as a culmination of over a decade's worth of storytelling, pulling together threads from prior films and elevating the stakes beyond anything seen before. Set in a time when the Warrens are older and more vulnerable, this installment promises to peel back layers of their emotional and spiritual burdens in a way that challenges not only their belief system, but their sense of purpose. From the earliest films, the Conjuring series has presented these characters as champions of light in a world plagued by darkness. But now that darkness may be closing in with a force they've never faced on this level. As they step into what could be their final confrontation with evil, Ed and Lorraine aren't just battling demonic forces, they are confronting the weight of everything they've seen and done. The narrative is expected to focus on their most dangerous case yet, one that forces them to revisit not just their faith, but the moral implications of their lifelong battle against the supernatural. They've helped countless families, documented real hauntings, and exorcised more entities than they can count. But this time, the enemy may not only be a spirit or demon. It might be something older, something tied to ancient rites, a force that doesn't just want to torment the living, but seeks to completely upend the spiritual balance. In a departure from previous cases where the Warrens were called in by outside parties, this time the haunting comes for them directly, striking at the core of their lives, threatening their loved ones, and possibly forcing them into a place of vulnerability that they have never had to navigate before. The setting for The Conjuring Last Rites is expected to be one of the most atmospheric yet, potentially taking the Warrens away from their familiar Northeast American surroundings into a more Gothic, European-inspired locale, steeped in religious imagery and ancient secrets. Think narrow corridors, old cathedrals, and candlelit stone chambers, a location where time seems to stand still, and where the line between the physical world and the spiritual one is dangerously thin. This isn't just a haunted house scenario. This is about legacy, curses passed down through generations, and the rituals once believed to protect against ultimate evil, now being twisted and corrupted. The title, Last Rites, carries immense weight. In religious tradition, last rites are given to the dying as a final spiritual safeguard before death. In this story, it could serve as a chilling double entendre, not just for the people involved in the haunting, but perhaps for the Warrens themselves. Lorraine's clairvoyance has always been a powerful tool in uncovering the truth behind hauntings, but in this film, that gift might become a source of danger. Her visions are reportedly stronger than ever, but they're also unpredictable, opening doors to terrifying premonitions and spiritual attacks. These new visions will likely bring her face to face with the most malevolent spirit she's ever encountered, one that has been watching her and Ed for years. It's possible the enemy here is connected to past cases, something that has been lying in wait, feeding on the fear generated by every other haunting they've encountered. Ed, meanwhile, continues to struggle with his physical health, a vulnerability introduced in earlier films, and this physical weakness is expected to be used by the evil force to break his spirit. Despite this, Ed's unshakable belief in his faith and in Lorraine remains the anchor of his strength, making their emotional bond not only a key element of survival, but perhaps the only thing that can defeat the darkness. As the final chapter, this film might explore the psychological cost of a life spent battling the paranormal. Unlike earlier entries where the Warrens could walk away from a case and return to the comfort of their home and museum of haunted artifacts, this film may dismantle that safety. Their home, often seen as a sanctuary, might be the very place where evil now resides. Artifacts from past cases could come into play in terrifying new ways, reawakening dormant entities or serving as conduits for something larger. The narrative could weave in nods to Annabelle, the Nun, and even La Llorona, not in a gimmicky crossover sense, but as subtle, horrifying consequences of the spiritual work they've performed for decades. The very idea that everything they've sealed, banished, or buried might return in some form adds a layer of escalating tension and a sense that this final case is more than just a haunting. It's a spiritual reckoning. Themes of mortality and legacy are expected to run deep in the Conjuring Last Rites. The film may explore whether the Warrens can truly leave their work behind, or if their lives have become so intertwined with the paranormal that there is no peaceful retirement waiting for them. There may be a younger character introduced, perhaps a protege, a priest, or even a skeptical investigator who is being groomed to carry the torch forward. This new character would not only serve as a narrative bridge to the audience, but also provide the Warrens with an opportunity to reflect on their life's work, their regrets, and their hopes for the future. It would be a passing of the torch. That is both literal and emotional, signaling the end of their chapter while leaving open the possibility for the universe to continue in new directions. What sets The Conjuring Last Rites? Apart from typical horror finales is its potential to deliver emotional closure as well as supernatural thrills. Fans are expecting scares, yes, but more than that, they're expecting answers. Will we learn more about Lorraine's powers? Will Ed's heart condition finally catch up with him? Is there a greater evil that's been manipulating events from the shadows all along? These questions are expected to be answered not with exposition, but through experience, as the characters live through increasingly terrifying scenarios that test their love, faith, and sanity. In many ways, the success of this film depends not just on how frightening it is, but on how meaningful it is. After all, what has always made the Conjuring series stand out is not just the ghosts and demons, but the humanity of its central characters.